Bloodstains don't belong in paradise. The white marble floors of the luxury Diani Beach villa told a different story that night. Crimson streaks traced a path from the master bedroom to the hall. Inside, the glass sculpture, once an elegant decoration, lay shattered beside Zuberi Omondi's motionless body. His eyes remained open, fixed on the ceiling fan rotating silently above. Outside, waves continued their gentle rhythm against pristine shores. Palm trees swayed in the moonlight. The same breathtaking view that had greeted the Omondi family days earlier now served as backdrop to Kenya's most shocking family tragedy. "Please hurry." Amara's voice trembled on the emergency call recording. "There's blood everywhere. My husband, he's lost his mind." Just hours earlier, Instagram showed her smiling on the same balcony, cocktail in hand. The caption read, "Making memories with family in paradise." Now, paramedics rushed past that balcony towards screams coming from within. What transforms a loving husband into a killer? What happens when the sacred trust between father and son shatters? What force could turn a luxury beachfront retreat into a crime scene? 3 lives entered that vacation villa. Only 2 walked out alive. The villa's security cameras captured it all. The initial happiness, the gradual tension, the fateful night Malik returned unexpectedly. What these cameras revealed shocked even veteran detectives. Have you ever witnessed how quickly paradise can turn to hell? How one betrayal can destroy generations of trust? If this story already grips you, hit subscribe and notification bell now. Because what happened in that Kenyan villa exposes the darkest truth about family secrets and the violence they can trigger. Tropical paradise, family celebration, fatal seduction. This is the story of how a dream vacation became a nightmare that none of them would escape. Nairobi, 2017. The wedding of Amara and Jerry and Malik Omondi dominated social media feeds across Kenya's capital. Their ceremony at the National Museum Gardens featured in 3 magazine spreads, not because they hired publicists, but because they embodied modern African success. They moved through life collecting achievements like trophies, recalled Tabitha, Amara's childhood friend. University honors, dream careers, the perfect home. By 28, Amara had risen to hospitality management at Nairobi's 5-star Serena Hotel, where CEOs requested her personally to coordinate their events. Her warm efficiency and attention to detail earned her 2 industry awards before age 30. Malik, 32, had transformed his architectural firm from a 3-person startup to a 20-employee operation, designing landmark buildings across East Africa. His innovative approach to sustainable urban housing caught international attention. When they entered rooms together, conversations paused, noted James, Malik's business partner, not from celebrity, but from the energy they created, ambitious yet humble, powerful yet approachable. Their Kilimani neighborhood home featured minimalist design with panoramic city views. Weekends found them hosting dinner parties for Nairobi's rising professionals or volunteering at youth mentorship programs. They discussed children constantly. Amara's sister Akini revealed later. They'd planned 2 kids, college funds already growing, names selected. Yet subtle fractures existed beneath this flawless veneer. Colleagues noted Malik's intense possessiveness masked as protection. Friends observed Amara's excessive need for external validation. Former relationships revealed patterns. His quick anger, her attraction to authority figures. Most concerning, Zuberi, Malik's recently widowed father, watched his daughter-in-law with eyes that lingered too long. Nobody mentioned it. Nobody wanted to see it. The perfect couple had imperfect foundations. The cracks were waiting for pressure. Zuberi Omondi built his fortune in the 1980s, transforming a small import-export business into Eastern Africa's leading logistics company. His Mercedes, his Italian suits, his philanthropy, all carefully cultivated symbols of his status in Kenyan society. Money talks, but Zuberi made his roar, said longtime associate Martin Kimathi. His donations to political campaigns ensured ministers answered his calls immediately. For decades, his wife Grace tempered his excesses, redirecting his donations to schools instead of politicians, hosting charity galas that balanced his corporate networking. When cancer claimed her in 2019, colleagues noted an immediate shift. The office atmosphere changed, recalled his executive assistant, Jane. Mr. Amandi became erratic, canceling meetings to attend Malik's project openings or Amara's hotel events. He called them constantly. Sunday family dinners became mandatory. Holidays expanded from weekend visits to week-long stays at Malik and Amara's home. When the couple planned international vacations, Zuberi added himself to the itinerary. His fixation on Amara grew transparent. Jane found him reviewing Amara's social media profiles during business hours. He purchased gifts, expensive jewelry, designer handbags that crossed traditional father-in-law boundaries. He introduced Amara as my beautiful daughter with his hand placed lower on her back than appropriate, noted Nyambura, a family friend. Malik either didn't notice or chose not to. This pattern extended beyond family. 3 female executives left Zuberi's company within 2 years following his wife's death. Non-disclosure agreements silenced their complaints, but whispers circulated about late-night texts and unwanted private dinners. Malik's relationship with his father operated through compartmentalization. He accepted Zuberi's financial support while ignoring his flaws. He mimicked his father's business tactics while publicly criticizing similar behavior in others. Malik created a mythology around his father, explained Dr. Ochieng, the family's subsequent therapist. He needed the legend of Zuberi the successful patriarch to remain intact, regardless of mounting evidence to the contrary. Diani Beach stretched like a white ribbon against the turquoise Indian Ocean. Private villas dotted the coastline, each hidden behind lush tropical gardens. The Omandi family's rented compound sat isolated on a cliff. 3 bedrooms, infinity pool, and staff quarters tucked discreetly at the rear. "Look at this place," Amara gasped as their driver navigated the crushed shell driveway. Her camera captured everything. Wooden swings suspended from baobab trees, outdoor showers draped with bougainvillea, glass walls that disappeared into pockets, revealing uninterrupted ocean views. The first 2 days unfolded exactly as planned. They snorkeled among coral reefs where tropical fish darted between their legs. Local chefs prepared fresh lobster on beach bonfires, while Maasai dancers performed at sunset. Zuberi laughed more than he had since his wife's funeral. "Dad seems renewed here," Malik told Amara as they watched Zuberi photograph a family of monkeys visiting their breakfast table. This trip was exactly what he needed. What Malik missed, his father photographing Amara, not monkeys. The camera lingered as she adjusted her swimsuit. His hand rested on her shoulder during group photos, sliding lower when Malik looked away. At dinner, Zuberi ordered wine without consulting preferences. He dismissed Malik's architectural observations about the villa, but leaned forward, captivated when Amara spoke. He directed questions to her while his son's responses faded into background noise. "Would you notice if someone close was crossing boundaries? The invisible lines separating appropriate from inappropriate blur easily under tropical skies, between champagne toasts against the soundtrack of ocean waves. Small moments accumulated, insignificant alone. Together, they formed a foundation for catastrophe." Day 4. The family lounged by the infinity pool when Malik's phone interrupted their tranquility. His face transformed as he walked away to take the call. "The Riverside development," Malik explained upon returning, tension evident in his jaw. "The structural engineer found issues with the foundation calculations. The entire project could collapse if we don't address this immediately." The Riverside project represented Malik's largest commission, a mixed-use development that would house 300 families. His reputation, his firm's future, rested on its success. "You can't leave now," Zuberi protested, hand resting on Amara's shoulder. "We've barely begun our vacation." "I'll fly back tomorrow morning and return within 2 days, Malik promised, already scrolling through flight options. "The team needs me physically present to sign off on the revisions." That evening, Malik packed quietly while Amara watched from their bed. "Take me with you," she suggested. "I don't mind cutting the vacation short." Malik paused. "Dad's been looking forward to this trip for months. Someone should stay and enjoy it with him." At 4 a.m., as their driver arrived to take Malik to the airport, he hesitated at the villa's entrance. The rising sun cast long shadows across the property. "What's wrong?" Amara asked, wrapping her robe tighter against the morning breeze. "Nothing," Malik answered too quickly. "Just a feeling. Probably nothing." He called his business partner from the airport. "Kamau, watch over the Riverside situation, but also check on Amara tonight." I can't explain why. Just call the villa landline. See if everything's okay. With Malik gone, the villa's atmosphere shifted immediately. Zuberi canceled the planned snorkeling excursion. Let's stay in today, he suggested. Just us. He instructed staff to prepare dinner on the private terrace rather than the main dining area. He selected wines from the villa's collection, expensive bottles meant for special occasions. We rarely get time alone, Zuberi told Amara as darkness fell. Candles illuminated the table. The staff had been dismissed early. You deserve attention without Malik dominating conversation, he continued, refilling her glass. Tell me everything about your dreams, your disappointments. Tonight is just for us. The security cameras later revealed how dinner extended past midnight, how Zuberi moved his chair progressively closer, how his hand found hers across the table. The catalyst had ignited. Morning after Malik's departure, Amara woke to find freshly cut flowers beside her bed. A small brightness for your day, read Zuberi's handwritten note. Later, breakfast awaited on her private balcony, her favorite fruits arranged artfully, the coffee prepared exactly as she preferred. Malik never mentioned your preferences, Zuberi said, joining uninvited. I pay attention. That afternoon, a massage therapist arrived, a gift, Zuberi explained, to ease your disappointment over Malik's departure. He suggested using the villa's couples treatment room. I'll take the other table. No sense wasting the booking. Wangari, the housekeeper, noticed the progression. He created moments that made her feel valued. She later told investigators. The young madam initially kept distance, answering texts from her husband where the older gentleman couldn't see. By evening, Zuberi escalated his approach. Malik inherited my business acumen but not my emotional intelligence, he told Amara over their second bottle of wine. He doesn't appreciate what he has in you. I recognize exceptional value immediately. Security footage captured Amara moving away when Zuberi sat too close. His response, stories of rejection, loneliness since his wife's death. No one touches me anymore, he confessed, eyes downcast. I've forgotten human connection. Therapeutic vulnerability, calculated to trigger compassion. Amara's journal entry that night revealed conflicted emotions. This attention feels dangerous but intoxicating. Z notices things about me that M never has. Wrong reasons to feel seen. The villa manager observed changes in Amara's behavior the next day. She stopped mentioning her husband, Hassan reported. She laughed at the father's jokes, touched his arm during conversation. Psychological manipulation accelerated. Zuberi created false intimacy through shared secrets. He disclosed Malik's past indiscretions, some exaggerated, others invented. He positioned himself as protector, confidant, and superior alternative. Power imbalances create vulnerability, explained Dr. Wambui in court testimony. Father-in-law versus daughter-in-law carries inherent authority differential. Add isolation, alcohol, and emotional manipulation. Boundaries disintegrate. By the sixth evening, security cameras recorded them swimming at midnight. Champagne bottles lined the pool edge. Zuberi's hand traced her cheek. This time, she didn't pull away. How far would you go to resist temptation? When flattery fills emptiness you never acknowledged? When forbidden attention awakens desires you've suppressed? When someone makes you question everything about your marriage? The line between resistance and surrender thinned with each passing hour. Day 6, security footage told the story in fragmented clips. Breakfast served in Amara's room, not the terrace. Zuberi entering her bathroom as she applied sunscreen, their hands meeting over wine glasses, lingering longer each time. They stopped requesting separate activities, villa attendant Jabari noted in his statement. No more tours, no diving lessons. They remained in private areas, her suite, the secluded garden path, the hidden cove below the property. Staff observed changes in routine. Beds in separate rooms remained unslept. Shower water ran for 2 people. Their conversations hushed when workers approached. Amara's tablet contained deleted journal entries, recovered later by forensic technicians. Z touches me differently than anyone ever has. Knowledge comes with his years, confidence with his success. Comparing him to M feels traitorous, yet inevitable. This vacation exists outside normal life, a parallel reality where consequences don't follow actions. Another entry. Guilt comes in waves. Morning brings clarity and shame. Evening brings wine and justifications. Night brings his knock on my door. The cycle repeats. The villa's exterior cameras captured the precise moment on night 6. Zuberi leading Amara by hand toward the master suite. Her hesitation at the threshold. His whispered reassurances. The door closing behind them. When I brought breakfast the next morning, housekeeper Wangari testified, they no longer pretended. The father-in-law sat on her bed in his robe while she showered. They looked through me as if I didn't exist. That afternoon, Amara tried calling Malik 3 times. Each call disconnected before connecting. Her final journal entry held 6 words: "Cannot continue, must end this tomorrow." Meanwhile in Nairobi, Malik's business crisis resolved unexpectedly. He texted Amara, "Coming back tonight, flight lands 11 p.m. Don't tell Dad, want to surprise him." The message never received a response. The private jet landed at Ukunda airstrip at 10:47 p.m. Malik texted his driver in Nairobi, but decided against alerting the villa staff. The night air felt electric against his skin as the taxi wound along coastal roads toward Diani Beach. "My wife and father will be surprised," he told the driver, checking his watch. "They weren't expecting me until tomorrow afternoon." The villa's security gate stood unmanned when he arrived, unusual for the premium property. Malik entered the security code himself, walking the torchlit path to the main house. Moonlight reflected off the infinity pool, where 2 wine glasses sat abandoned beside discarded clothing. Hassan, the night watchman, spotted him from the garden. "Sir, we weren't informed." "It's fine," Malik waved him off. "Where is everyone?" Hassan's eyes darted toward the master suite. "Your father retired early. Your wife, I believe she's in her room." The main house stood eerily quiet. Malik dropped his briefcase in the foyer, loosened his tie. From the master bedroom, music played softly. Leonard Cohen's "Dance Me to the End of Love," his father's favorite. Laughter filtered through the closed door. A woman's laughter. Amara's laughter. Malik stood motionless. Seconds stretched into eternity. Perhaps they were simply talking, sharing family stories. Perhaps this feeling in his stomach, this cold, crawling dread, was irrational. He turned the handle without knocking. The bedroom lights were dimmed. Candles flickered on bedside tables. 2 figures froze on the king-sized bed. Amara straddling Zuberi, her back to the door, his hands on her hips. Time fractured. "Malik!" Amara gasped, scrambling for sheets to cover herself. Zuberi made no move to hide. His expression shifted from shock to something resembling satisfaction. "Son, you're early." The room tilted. Malik gripped the doorframe, knuckles white. "This isn't," Amara began. "Don't," Malik cut her off. "Don't say it isn't what I think." His voice remained unnaturally calm. The stillness before catastrophe. Zuberi sat up slowly. "Let's discuss this reasonably. Adult to adult." "Adult to adult," Malik repeated, voice hollow. "Father and son, husband and wife." Each word dropped like stone. Those were the relationships. Those were the boundaries. Amara moved toward him, hand outstretched. "Please, just listen." "How long?" Malik demanded, backing away from her touch. "Since we arrived?" "Before that?" Her silence answered everything. "Your marriage was already failing," Zuberi offered casually. "Amara deserves a man who truly values." Something shattered inside Malik. The careful construction of his world, successful husband, dutiful son, respected professional, collapsed completely. What would you do if you discovered your spouse with your parent? When fundamental trust breaks, when betrayal comes doubly from those most sacred to you, when your foundation crumbles beneath your feet? The glass sculpture sat heavy in Malik's hands before he realized he'd picked it up. "You wanted everything I ever had." Malik's voice dropped to a whisper. "My achievements, my success, my wife." Zuberi stood, wrapping a sheet around his waist. "You misunderstand. This simply happened. Emotions evolved naturally." "Naturally?" Malik repeated. The crystal sculpture weighed heavily in his hand, a wedding gift from his architectural colleagues, ironically. "There's nothing natural about this." Amara reached for her discarded dress. "Malik, please, let's talk tomorrow when." "When what?" Malik's control fractured. "When you've prepared your excuses, when he's coached you on what to say." Zuberi approached, hands raised placatingly. "Son, you're upset, understandably, but violence solves nothing." "Violence," Malik laughed, a hollow sound. "You violate my marriage, my trust, my home, yet lecture me about violence?" Hassan, the security guard, later testified, hearing the argument escalate. The younger man's voice rose, then fell silent. The older man spoke calmly, almost taunting. The woman begged repeatedly. What happened next appeared on security footage in fragmented frames. Zuberi moving toward his son, Malik's arm rising, the crystal sculpture catching moonlight from the window. The first impact. Zuberi staggering backward, blood blooming across his temple. Amara screaming, grabbing Malik's arm. Malik shaking free. The second blow. The third. The fourth. Zuberi collapsed beside the bed, hand outstretched toward Amara. Blood pooled on white marble. Malik stood motionless, the bloodied sculpture dripping between his fingers. Amara's frantic call to emergency services recorded at 12:47 a.m. "Please hurry." Her voice trembled between sobs. "My husband attacked his father. There's blood everywhere. I can't stop the bleeding." Operator. "Is the attacker still there?" "Yes. He's just standing here. He won't move." Operator. "Is anyone else in danger?" "I don't know. He's never violent. Please hurry." Paramedics arrived 15 minutes later, navigating the winding coastal road at maximum speed. Police vehicles followed, lights cutting through the tropical darkness. They found the scene frozen in tableau, Zuberi motionless on blood-soaked marble, Malik seated in a corner, still clutching the murder weapon, Amara performing futile CPR, her wedding ring glinting with her father-in-law's blood. He was already gone when we arrived, paramedic Ndegwa reported. Multiple traumatic head injuries. The woman wouldn't stop compression attempts until we physically removed her. Paradise had become crime scene. Dawn broke over the villa as investigators sealed the crime scene. Detective Kemboy supervised evidence collection, blood spatter analysis, fingerprinting, photography of the master suite. Classic crime of passion, he told his team. Clear perpetrator, clear motive. Officers led Malik away in handcuffs, his expression vacant. No resistance, no questions, no denial. The story exploded across Kenya within hours. Architect murders father over wife's betrayal, screamed the nation's headline. Morning shows interrupted regular programming. Social media feeds flooded with villa photos, couple snapshots, family histories excavated by amateur detectives. The Mombasa betrayal, as media labeled it, captivated public imagination. Radio call-in shows debated moral culpability. Zuberi's predatory behavior versus Malik's violent response versus Amara's infidelity. 3 villains, 0 heroes, concluded popular podcast host Njoroj. Everyone failed fundamentally. Police methodically built their case. The villa's extensive security system provided crucial evidence. Footage tracking the affair's development, audio capturing the fatal confrontation, timestamps verifying timeline accuracy. Forensic analysis confirmed Malik's fingerprints on the murder weapon. Blood spatter patterns matched his position during the attack. His clothing contained microscopic evidence from the scene. Then came unexpected developments. 3 women filed statements describing inappropriate advances from Zuberi over previous years. Former business associate Kamani revealed, Zuberi pursued my wife during our partnership. I dissolved our company rather than confront him. A former household employee disclosed non-disclosure agreements paid to domestic staff who witnessed uncomfortable interactions with female guests. Detective Kemboy's case expanded beyond simple jealousy. Pattern evidence suggests calculated predatory behavior across multiple relationships, his report noted. The deceased systematically violated boundaries with vulnerable women. Public sentiment shifted. The narrative grew complex. Nairobi High Court, January 2023. The prosecution sought first-degree murder charges. The defense argued for manslaughter based on extreme emotional provocation. The courtroom fell silent as security footage played. Frame by frame, the seduction unfolded. The betrayal, the discovery, the attack. The defendant methodically struck his father 4 times, prosecutor Uma emphasized. Each blow delivered with intent. Defense attorney Mbeki countered, no premeditation existed. Mr. Billet, Omondi walked into psychological torture, his spouse and parent engaged in the ultimate betrayal. Dr. Wambui, forensic psychologist, provided expert testimony. The defendant experienced acute psychological break, a trauma response to devastating emotional injury. His mental state prevented rational thought processing. When Amara took the stand, cameras captured every tear. I accept responsibility for my betrayal, she testified. But Zuberi manipulated vulnerabilities expertly. He isolated me physically and emotionally before escalating advances. Former employees described Zuberi's predatory patterns. Business associates detailed boundary violations spanning decades. Financial records revealed settlements paid to silence complaints. This doesn't excuse murder, prosecutor Uma reminded jurors. Civilization requires controlling our darkest impulses. After 4 weeks of testimony, the verdict arrived, guilty of second-degree murder with extenuating circumstances. Judge Muthiga announced the sentence, 12 years imprisonment, reflecting both the gravity of taking human life and the extraordinary psychological circumstances precipitating this tragedy. Outside the courthouse, crowds gathered. Some carried signs supporting Malik. Others demanded longer sentencing. Amara faced reporters briefly. 3 lives destroyed by boundaries violated, trust betrayed, and violence unleashed. No one wins here. Malik's architectural firm partners issued a statement expressing deep sorrow for all victims in this tragedy, including those whose stories went untold for decades. Community forums across Kenya launched discussions on family boundaries, masculine entitlement, and justice's limitations. 3 years later, the shadow of Diani Beach follows Amara Njeri. Relocating to Uganda provided physical distance, but no emotional escape. Her hospitality career collapsed under public scrutiny. Social media accounts closed after relentless harassment. I existed only as that woman in Kenya, she told documentary filmmakers in her sole interview. Everyone judged without understanding the complex manipulation, the isolation, the psychological tactics employed. She now works remotely for a tourism company under a different name. Her memoir manuscript remains unpublished, rejected by publishers fearing defamation claims from the Omandi family estate. The luxury villa stands abandoned. Tourists photograph its exterior from public beaches. Local guides include it on tragic Kenya tours. Property values surrounding it dropped 40%. 3 different management companies failed to rebrand it. No amount of renovation erases what happened there, explained real estate agent Mwangi. Potential buyers sense the emotional residue immediately. Malik serves his sentence quietly, refusing all interview requests. His appeal process continues through Kenya's judicial system, though legal experts predict minimal sentence reduction. This tragedy transcends individual failings. It exposes how authority figures weaponize power, how isolation creates vulnerability, how quickly violence erupts when foundational trust shatters. No simple villains exist here, only humans with fatal flaws, making catastrophic choices in moments of extreme emotion. Subscribe now to hear more stories where paradise transforms to nightmare, where ordinary people cross invisible lines with irreversible consequences, where justice attempts to measure the immeasurable, the true cost of betrayal.